Good morning, good morning, good morning. And it is Friday, the last stream of the week. And how is that? Weekend is just right around the corner and the sun is popping out, shining brightly today. So welcome to my live stream. My name is Jimmy Cheng, a professional photographer, a filmmaker, also an Olympus ambassador. As you can see from the intro video, I filmed everything with Olympus gear. So yeah, welcome to my stream. If you are new here, I do this daily between Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Well, most of the time I will overrun anyway. But yeah, welcome here. So very nice to have you join me talk about anything photography and filmmaking. And of course, you know, being an ambassador from Olympus, you can also ask me any question about Olympus apart from any future releases. That is secret. I cannot talk about it at all unless you want, you know, somebody murder me, and that will be a totally different case. But anyway, so if you're new here, I do have a format for this 30 minutes. So first of all, I will talk about general update. But basically, like I mentioned many times already, this stream, it is public, so everyone can see me talking. And all I want is to use this opportunity to also give my friends and family around the world to let them know that we are doing okay as a family in London during these difficult pandemic times here. So yeah, apart from that, and also give you guys some update, perhaps if I have anything to announce for my upcoming streams or upcoming videos that I want to release on my YouTube channel, Red 35 Photography. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, check that out, please. It's YouTube, and just search for Red 35 Photography. It's all good. And apart from that, yeah, this is kind of the general update, and not much I can tell you at the moment, apart from we are still in lockdown, and possibly for quite some time in the future. I know that the government is actually working on a kind of release now, and or kind of ease back into normality, but I'm very doubtful that, you know, our lives are going to be back to normal anytime soon. Like, I mean, when I say normal, it's not like that we can go back to the cinema, you know, go to clubbing, bars and clubs and things like that. I think those will be very difficult. Even retails, I don't think, you know, we're going to be, at least in short term, you know, like I'm talking about like maybe the next 6 months or so, you know, like we're not going to be crowding back into a shop, you know, look for, you know, clothing, electronic, anything, you name it. It's going to be difficult. So we shall see. Obviously, time will tell, you know, and ultimately what sort of thing will be impacted by that. And apart from that, you know, some sad news, of course, this morning and since yesterday, actually, and we see some airlines are announcing how struggling they are, and then they already planning to make a lot of people redundant, so which is actually not the news I want to hear about it, you know, especially I myself has kind of been through a jobless year, you know, almost in 2020, and so this is not a very good experience at all. But anyway, so what I want to talk about today, of course, is a specific topic here: shooting manual or automatic. This is something I think is very interesting to most, because I guess a lot of let me just get rid of this topic here first, so we can get a little bit of screen estate, so I can show you something in a minute. So shooting manual, you know, a lot of people would think that, oh, if you're a professional, I'm talking about photography first, so before filmmaking, right? Okay, in terms of photography, a lot of people might actually think being a professional or being a high-end photographer would shoot everything in manual. I can tell you right now, it can be both, you know, and I'm not suggesting, you know, professionals should shoot automatic, but I know a lot of photographer professional actually shoot automatic. Let me know your view. If you're a professional photographer, if you use automatic, you know, it's fine. You know, I use automatic sometimes, and I use semi-auto most of the time, and shooting manual only when in very tricky situation where I need to completely overriding a setting. And I guess this is the exact point that we're trying to make, right? For people who are not really working in the industry, you know, not saying that they are bad photographers in any way, but for people who are working in the industry, earning money from their photography, they need, you know, is efficiency, accuracy, and speed, and of course reliability. But that's not what I'm talking about today. So it's all about shooting manual and automatic. So automations, especially in today's camera, because they have so many cool features now, like the latest EM1 Mark III, for instance. You know, now they have a really good face and eye tracking autofocus, so that, you know, you can almost kind of relying on that 100% and just to deal with all the focusing needs. So I don't have to physically move that knob or the D-pad at the back of the camera to point the focusing point to that subject's face or eyes. So I don't have to do that now, and so this sort of automation definitely helps. And furthermore, you know, if you want to shoot in, let's say, a slightly shallower depth of field to isolate your subject from the background or from the rest of the scene, you may want to just shoot a wider aperture. And because if you're shooting bright daylight like today, and shutter speed would not be a problem, especially if you shoot a much larger aperture, and that means that you can almost completely using aperture priority, set the aperture to whatever desired figure you want, 1.2, 1.8, 2.8, whatever. You know, you can just set it there and just let the camera deal with the rest of the shutter speed issues and get the correct exposure. And one good thing about also in modern days, a metering system, not like the old days in DSLR, which is still relying on average, center weighted, all the other stuff. But in mirrorless, it's a very, very different story there, because you're not relying on mirror blocks anymore. So like the focusing is being read through the entire screen, and especially when you go face tracking on, the metering is actually smart enough to detect your face and expose your face in a priority term. So that means that in a backlit situation, if the camera sees your face, it was trying to prioritize your face exposure and compensate that. So this is how clever in modern day digital mirrorless camera nowadays, which is actually fantastic. So for a lot of professionals, that is speed, and then they can almost trust it. Another thing is that good about mirrorless camera and modern day digital camera is that you can now do the what you see, what you get kind of thing. So from the EVF, you can see exactly what your exposure is like, almost exactly what the outcome is going to be like for exposures. So you can immediately tell whether the computer is doing a good job or not. If it's not, easy, just turn it down a little bit, just to the full menu, and start using it manually. So that is something quite awesome, right? In the digital world now. It's really funny because I remember 10 years ago, and I was still using DSLR, Canon DSLR systems. I was one of the guys who kind of really said, EVF is awful, it's low resolution, it's laggy, and it doesn't show much, and I was one of the old school boys, kind of hate the EVF. But the thing is, I've seen the evolutions on EVF technologies and how good they have become, from 10 years ago. It was laggy, it was really low resolution, but seriously, today, you can't get a bad EVF. I know that it can still be debatable, and there are some awesome EVFs, there are some average EVFs, but most of them, I would say most of them now, you can buy in 2020. It's totally fine, very usable, with virtually no lag. The resolution is good enough to see the whole scene and everything like that. So it is actually a worthy technology now being using in a professional environment, and I'm really pushing this technology. I think optical is good, of course, in exactly what you see through the eye, and everything. There's no noise, for instance, and absolutely no delay, because it's all through light, right? Reflection through the mirror blocks. But the thing is now, being a professional for so many years and using EVFs for the last 4 or 5 years professionally now, I can really see the appeal. I doubt it very much I can go back to OVF for a simple thing is that I can't see the exposures. There's still an element of guesswork. I'm experienced enough to tell the exposure right or no, just from looking at histogram or whatever. And but the thing is, I'm now so used to and adjusted to the EVF's capabilities and what it shows in terms of the final results or the potential final results live on the screen, and that is amazing. So I shoot semi-auto. Occasionally I shoot full auto. Manual, I will shoot manual only when I see the computer cannot do what I want, and this is something when you can see it live happening on your EVF or the back of the screen, and you just have to turn it down to menu and adjust it accordingly. But apart from that, I think it's a very good thing to have nowadays, and also in terms of filmmaking, there's another topics now. If you're a beginner for filmmaking, or if you want to make videos, I actually don't mind you using auto at all. I actually would push you using auto, simply because I think automation helps a lot in the video. Maybe I'm a photographer. I mean, coming from a photography point of view and background, moving into filmmaking, I actually do think that it's more important for you to learn how to film, how to compose, and how to move and how to track the subjects in video terms. So there's a lot of elements there. There's a lot of control if you're not used to video making or filmmaking. So using full auto can help you just trying to get used to that motion first, you know, like moving in and out, how do you walk, how to track things, and how to film and compose, and concentrate on creating and also like exposing and storytelling instead of operating, because operating the camera, it has to become a second nature if you want to be really efficient in filmmaking. And if you're not, you know, that can, you know, take away the essence of creating, because you are so focused on trying to get the correct exposures, correct frame speed, or and everything. So like auto is actually good in at least at the beginning level of filmmaking. So it's very good. I would suggest you to do that. But of course, you know, when you move up to eventual being a very serious filmmaker or videographer, you're so used to it, the camera, and you know exactly how you frame stuff and how to film stuff. Then you move into the very technical side. You start operating manually, even focusing. You want to use manual focus because you can take control. You can take control of the speed, the focus rack, and everything. You can do a lot with manual focusing. But until you are very proficient in actually creating the shot, I think you shouldn't drill into too much technical aspect of filmmaking, because it will drive you nuts, I'm telling you. Anyway, so and that's all I want to talk about auto and automation. But I want to show you some shots, because these shots are completely shot in semi-auto. I did not use any menu apart from a couple of photos which I'm going to show you right now. So in scenes like this, and just quickly show you, I mean, this is of course one of my fabulous client, Sam, that I shot, I think it was earlier this year. Actually, when did I shoot this? I can't even remember. Oh yes, it's actually just before the lockdown. Yes, February. That's when I shot these images. And you know, well, I went out with her in central London, do a series of photos for her social media campaign, and it's really a fun day with her. And she's very bubbly as always. I shot with her a couple of times already. This was our second shoot, and it was really she's got really lovely personality and very bubbly, very happy. You can tell from these photos, you know, she just loves that sort of environment. She loves color, that's for sure. So I took a series of these photos and completely utilizing the automation from the camera. So it's all semi-automatic. Aperture priority, I set it to f5.6, and I just let the computer deal with all the exposure stuff like that. And it turned out to be very consistent. And the camera sees the person, sees the face, and it's just really amazing. So I don't have to do much about it, and I could just focusing on capturing her emotions and her reaction, which is what I want to talk about in terms of automation. So it's all really fantastic. I really do like that. And then also I'm going to show you this as well. And so you can see that the image on the left is completely natural light. In this case, I did use the manual focusing point control instead of letting the camera seize the face, only because in a slightly lower light situation, sometimes the camera just couldn't quite see the face as well as normal. So in that case, I actually do use the joystick to basically turn the focusing point to her face and focusing directly, but you still nail it, no problem. I'm still using aperture priority once again because I could see the exact setting that's chosen by the computer, and I thought it was good, and I could just go ahead and fire the shot. That's another point I want to make, is that, you know, if you are familiar or professional level photographer, you know exactly what you're doing. Still, you don't really want to fully engage until you see the setting on the camera and say, oh, that's the round about the right shutter speed you want to use, and then you just trust that and fire it. Don't blindly take the shot without actually seeing the exposure, because of let's say if you're using aperture priority, all it does is the camera trying to calculate the exposures based on the aperture that you set, right? So even if you shoot on 1.2 in a very dim environment, if you don't use auto ISO, you just stick the ISO whatever you choose, 200, 400, 800, whatever, then you may end up with a very slow shutter speed. So if your subject is not moving, that may not be a problem. And but if the subject is moving slightly, you will need a faster shutter speed, and just have to watch out for that figure on the camera screen. When you do half press, for instance, when you do half press, the system should bring you up the setting that the computer thinks it should be the correct level of exposure. Check that number first before you press that button, because otherwise you're going to end up with a blurry shot. And then on the right, of course, this one I did not use automation at all. I actually used full manual because the TTL didn't do a good job at all, and for some reason it just didn't end up exposing the shot that I really like to create the effect. That it was just slightly over, so I had to manually dial down. I even used manual flash. I didn't even use any TTL at all. So I'm gonna adjust the flash power myself, and the shutter speed, and also the aperture to get the effect that especially throwing the ball. I did a few different tries because I'm trying to see which effect works and which one didn't, and so I ended up with this sort of effect, and the correct shutter speed was chosen. And then I just asked her, yeah, do a few of this ball throwing, and then we take some cool shot of it. Of course, doing shots like this can be very random, and the balls can just fly anywhere, and it could be ending up in front of her face, or so this is good. This is kind of one of the best ones that I got from that shoot. But once again, it was a very fun shoot, and I just love that. Another one is this one here I want to show you, and which is fantastic. Okay, once again, go back to the morning of the shoot. This time I'm using face detect, and the camera clearly sees the face and is focusing on that, and so I don't have to do too much. I just really purely focusing on the composition of it, and then they let the camera do all the heavy lifting. So it's actually fantastic for that particular reason. And lastly, this is the last photo I want to show you, which is actually, I do think is a pretty cool photo. If you wonder what this place is, where this place is, I can't remember exactly. I know it's in Shoreditch. This is a club, have these kind of grown-up ball pits, so you can jump in and play. But it's really a fun place to be, and I think it was fun because partly because it was empty when we get there, because we have exclusive access to the place, so we could film and do things there, and it was really fun. But I can imagine it can get a little bit too crowded and also too noisy when it's fully open to public. So I may not want to be there if that's the case. So we just have to bear that in mind. But I love that. I've loved that location. If I ever go back just to do a shoot exclusively, I'll definitely go back. It's really fun, and you can really do a lot of creative stuff there as well, and which is actually fantastic for that. But anyway, I just want to do a shout out to today's lens, and it's slightly different to my usual, especially in this angle here, because from the last few days, I've been using the Laowa 7.5mm f2 lens, and today I am using my very trusty and one of my favorite lenses of all time is the M Zuiko 12mm f2 prime, and using complete autofocus. You can see it's really doing a brilliant job for that, and that's how good, like I mentioned about autofocus, right? Auto thing, like this, he's tracking my face really well. No matter where I move, you probably can't see it at the moment, but I can see it from the back screen that I've flipped out at the moment. I can see that it really sees my face moving in and out, left and right, so you can actually continue tracking my face. Is fantastic, right? And like this, if I do my hand in here, so you can see that focus on my hand, and as soon as I lift it up, you should go back to my face. Brilliant! This is how good the modern day digital cameras now, and you can really trust that autofocus. Of course, I could never say it never. It's not 100%. It doesn't matter what system you use. There's always a case when it's just slightly misjudged a little bit, or the system somehow sees a face somewhere else and is starting to focus on that. This is the danger of being fully auto, and if you want to take control, of course manual is the only way, and but a lot of the time, if depending on who you are, what you shoot and things like that, semi-automations or full automation can be really helpful. In my case, if I'm filming myself like what I'm doing right now, or making YouTube of me talking, full automation is definitely very helpful, because I don't have another person behind the camera to man the focus or the settings. I just have to really completely rely on the camera to do the job. So like having a reliable system is definitely key, but I know sometimes it just would drift off somewhere and would be completely off the screen. Then you have to find some way to fix it, or you just have to do another take. So it's very good and bad about automation. That's all I can say. And but it is useful, and I do use it. Don't get me wrong. So not all professionals these days would use full manual, and there are some, of course, depending on what you do. Filmmaking, if you are really good at it, I still think yes, manual focus will give you the ultimate control, especially the effect that you want to create in the film. But in photography, it's just really good to have that sort of automations now, like pro captures and the tracking, all the other stuff. If you do bird, wildlife, animal photography, you know, these tracking stuff is really fantastic. And I can't imagine these days that anyone could do wildlife photography tracking, like a lion, you know, like preying and stuff, you know, running on the field, simply using manual focus. I don't think it worked very well. So like tracking things like that, it would be a godsend to capturing those amazing action shots. So cool. So this is kind of things that I want to talk about today, and I know it's Friday, and I hope you guys would have a great weekend. Yeah, and this is something that I would like you to enjoy and take advantage of your fabulous camera and do something in the garden or wherever you go out. Just grab your camera. That's one thing I saw the other day when I was driving out to deliver something to the granny, and then I drove past a guy. You know, he just walked past me when I was driving on the road, and I saw him holding a camera. So like, God, he is very enthusiastic in photography. You know, like, it just brings a little bit of smile on my face, and I see someone actually holding a camera, going for a short walk. You know, he's still trying to capture something. This is the spirit. This is the spirit. Yeah, you know, you really have to keep doing it. So yeah, do something with your camera. You know, I know not all of you will have a balcony or anything like that, so garden or something, but you can always, like when you go out for an hour walk or something, just take your camera with you. You never know what you're going to capture. Just have some fun, you know, just flex your muscles a little bit, flex your brain creativity muscles, you know, just to exercise a little bit, and you will be able to capture some amazing shot. And hopefully next week I'll see some lovely images from you guys, and we shall see. I'm going to check back on all my friends, all my contacts, to see what images you post and see whether you've got some amazing stuff. And I still got a lot of stuff to do, and today I'm going to have a couple of projects I need to work on. So I'm going to keep me busy for the rest of the week, even the weekend. So I shall continue working on those, and hopefully my project will be finished in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be focusing on getting my studio ready. I know my wife is kicking me out very soon. Okay, right, I shall see you guys. Don't forget that I have my sponsor link, buy me a coffee, and thank you again for those who already bought me coffee, and much appreciated for this difficult time. And these are all support that I really greatly appreciate it. So anyway, I shall see you next week, because this is Friday, and this is the last stream of this week. If you're new, once again, if you're just joining, you don't know what's going on, this is a live stream that I talk about every morning, anything to do with photography, filmmaking, Olympus gears, anything you want to talk about. So just have a fun discussions, and I will showcase, also showcase some photos that I took, some videos that I took, and then just to showcase what you can do with your camera. And you can also ask me all kinds of questions about how you create that shots, or your experience in photography, and how I can improve your game. So it's all happening between Monday to Friday, 11 to 11:30 a.m. GMT London time, of course. But you can also catch up on all the these live stream videos. I know the Facebook do keep them in my timeline, but it's very difficult to kind of go through if you want to go back to the previous ones. I do archive them and put them on my personal YouTube channel. You can very happy to go and support me and subscribe and put on the bell notification there, so you know when the archive is up, so you can go back and track all the other old stuff. I will be putting some cool videos in that channel hopefully very soon, as I get time to film something. But at the moment, that channel is being used only for archiving purposes. So be patient, you know, cool things are going to come. But on my YouTube channel is going to be cool. Every Wednesday I'm going to have a live stream between 3 to 3:45 p.m. GMT London time again. My normal YouTube video would soon resume. You know, I'm really looking forward to it, because I stopped making YouTube videos for about I don't know, a month, 5 weeks now, and it's dreadful. I feel dreadful, you know, and I haven't been creative enough, you know, to do something, and also haven't been out at all, you know, just staying in the house. So this is it, you know. I just have to adapt, you know. I think I'm finally coming through it, especially now a lot of my heavy projects are completed, so I have a little bit more time soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get back to my normal YouTubing very, very soon. So until next time, I shall see you all soon, and thank you for joining me once again, and I can't wait to speak to you guys again in next week, next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. See you guys. Yeah, cool. All right, see you later. Bye for now.